Frostmourne, the sword of the Lich King that Ner'zhul used to snare Arthas Menethil with, has a relatively short but bloodthirsty history. But many of the victims, 5 of them, stand out, and I'm going to describe their fates here. Frostmourne began as a creation of the Legion as a tool sent to Azeroth in order to weaken the forces ranged there against a full-scale invasion. The 5 major victims that I have chosen will be covered in chronological order, but I'm not going to include Arthas himself. Although he is often described as the first victim, he took the sword willingly. Even though he may not have quite understood the full implications, he was forewarned about the curse. When Arthas took possession of Frostmourne, he was from that point on effectively in the thrall of Ner'zhul the Lich King. Although it was the Dreadlord Mal'Ganis who was the first to taste the bite of Frostmourne, it was Arthas' own father who became the first major lore character to fall to this weapon of undeath. After Arthas returned from Northrend to Lordaeron, he entered the throne room, knelt before his father, the king. He then stood up, approached the throne, and ran Frostmourne through Terenas, his bloodied crown rolling down the steps. It's not known what became of the crown, but the spattered blood may still be seen on the floor as you enter the Undercity. There are a number of other features which hark back to that famous scene from Warcraft 3, including the rose petals on the floor. Once under the command of the Lich King, Arthas was tasked with raising the necromancer kel'thuzad, whom Arthas himself had slain while still a paladin. To do this, he would need to recover the bones and transport them to a source of magical energies. This brought him back to his old master, one of the original paladins, the Knights of the Silver Hand, Uther the Lightbringer. After recovering kel'thuzad's bones, the Dreadlord Tichondrius told Arthas that he would need to take them to Kel'Thalas. But first, the remains would need a suitable housing for their journey. This was to be the urn containing his murdered father's ashes, and was in the keeping of the paladins.
Your father ruled this land for 70 years, and you've ground it to dust in a matter of days.
Very dramatic, Uther. Give me the urn, and I'll make sure you die quickly.
The urn holds your father's ashes, Arthas. What? Were you hoping to piss on them one last time before you left his kingdom to rot?
I didn't know what it held. Nor does it matter. I'll take what I came for one way or another.
Arthas slaughtered his way through several paladins before finally facing off against Uther and killing him before taking the urn. Sylvanas Windrunner is surely the most famous of Frostmourne's victims, and was certainly the most difficult. Sylvanas and Arthas first clashed while the future Lich King was assaulting Silvermoon to gain access to the Sunwell. To raise such a powerful necromancer as kel'thuzad into a lich, a lot of energy would be needed, and Sunwell was the prime source. Needless to say, this did not meet with the approval of the elves of Kel'Thalas. Sylvanas was the Windrunner's sister who harried Arthas and his forces, frustrating his attempts again and again.
Fall back to the trees!
You've won through this gate, Butcher, but you won't get through the second. The inner gate to Silvermoon can only be opened with a special key, and it shall never be yours.
You waste your time, woman. You cannot outrun the inevitable.
You think that I'm running from you? Apparently you've never fought elves before.
Damn that woman! We must find a way to cross the river.
However, it was ultimately in vain, as the Death Knight and his undead army broke through. Eventually, Arthas cornered Sylvanas and struck her down. She told him to finish her off quickly, but he instead raised her as a banshee.
I salute your bravery, elf, but the chase is over.
Then I'll make my stand here, Butcher. Anara la Belore. Finish it. I deserve a clean death.
After all you've put me through, woman, the last thing I'll give you is the peace of death.
No, you wouldn't dare.
As a direct result of what Arthas did to her people's lands and people, as well as to her personally, Sylvanas became the person who surely hated him more than any other. She ambushed him in Warcraft 3 and almost killed him, but a combination of her desire to torture him instead of getting quick revenge, and the timely arrival of kel'thuzad allowed him to escape. With kel'thuzad reborn as a lich, he tells Arthas about the Legion and the purpose of the Lich King. He also explains that the Dreadlords will want Arthas to help summon Archimonde to Azeroth, so that the invasion in full can begin. When kel'thuzad communes with Archimonde, he's instructed to steal the last remaining copy of Medivh's book, which is held in Dalaran, City of Mages. As Arthas and his Scourge force approaches Dalaran, the Mages' leader, Antonidas, greets them with a snide remark about his father.
Greetings, Prince Arthas. How fares your noble father?
Lord Antonidas, there's no need to be snide.
In order to breach the defences of Dalaran, Arthas must kill 3 powerful mages which are maintaining the defensive auras. At the last, only Antonidas himself stands in Arthas' way, and he's easily cut down by Frostmourne. When Archimonde is summoned, he says that Arthas has served his purpose and should be replaced as commander of the Scourge. This sets in a chain of events which leads to Arthas approaching the Frozen Throne and becoming one with the Lich King. There were others that Arthas defeated with the Frostmourne, including Astarion Sunstrider, the former king of Sylvanas and wielder of Fel Malorn. He faced off against Arthas at the Battle of Kel'thuzad and fell before the Runeblade. Illidan also was defeated at the foot of Icecrown, though he survived. But all of these characters are essentially alliance forces, or were at the time. But wasn't Arthas and his Scourge the enemy of the Horde too? Well, sure, but the Horde was well out of the way at this point. But later the Lich King would become so dangerous that the Alliance and Horde would even team up to take him on. It was at the Wrathgate that an army of orcs and humans demanded that the Lich King face them. This he did, and claimed the most notable victim of the Horde. Dranosh Sourfang, an orc who seems to like cheesy dialogue, is something of a pedigree amongst orcs. Nephew of Broxigar, the orc who wounded Sargeras himself during the War of the Ancients, and son of Varrock Sourfang, now leader of the orcs in Orgrimmar, while Sylvanas is war chief. When Arthas walks out of the Wrathgate, Sourfang charges him, but his weapon and armour are shattered by Frostmourne. Arthas steals the orc's soul and later raises him up to defend one of the entrances to the Icecrown Citadel. Shortly afterwards, Arthas is defeated and Frostmourne itself shattered by the Ashbringer, wielded by Tyrion Fordring. Shards of Frostmourne now exist forged into new weapons, but this time to be used against the Legion and its plans. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share for further content, and until next time, I'll see you later.